Everybody, great to be back with you here. Mike Fairborn for our swing trading class. Folks, today I did want to look at one of the popular, but not as common as you might think, in terms of a crossover that is utilized on the chart. A lot of traders will use them and really kind of for, it's interesting because it is kind of tied into momentum, sort of momentum trading or swing trading is a good kind of overlap within that group. So I want to be addressing that with you today. Looking forward to it. I don't know if you've seen this crossover before, but it's not one that's frequently out there too often, but it is quite fascinating. So I want to talk about that in terms of helping us find higher probability entries and exits just using that one crossover, not to mention maybe a trading above a longer term moving average as well. So I'm looking forward to going through that with you all today. Folks, we will dive into swing trading here in just a bit. But I did want to welcome you all real quickly here. Great to have you here. Jay Richardson, hello to you, as well as howdy to you, Riceberg, and others in here. We've got some new names as well, but Michael, Amanda, and Kevin. We've got Life in the Fast Lane. Cecil, we do have, I think we have Will. I saw Will. Yes, I saw Will by his sunsets there. Sunset guy. All right. Hello to you, Jenny Michelle. Good to have you on board as well as Sharon, Scott, many others. Any questions, folks? Type those into the chat so we can address those for you. I'm joined in the chat by a good friend and colleague of mine, Connie Hill. We've worked together for about, I'll say about 17 years. I'm trying to get exact there. 17, 18. Connie, very knowledgeable, holds the CMT designation, a very high level designation for technical analysis. And you probably already aware of that. If you view her classes, she does a great job there. I encourage you to take a look at what she's got. Follow her on X as well, Connie Hill CS. That stands for Charles Schwab. I am Mike Fairborn CS as well. With that, let's hit some disclosures. We got to get going here. All right. This material is intended for general information and educational purposes only. Now, the paper money software application is for education purposes only as well. Investing does involve risks, including loss of principal for some products and strategies, loss of more than your initial investment. There's no guarantee that the execution of a stop order will be at or near the stop price. Now, past performance is no guarantee of future results, and dividends are not guaranteed. Okay. Final slide. Look at our futures and futures options trading involves substantial risk, not suitable for all investors. We just look at the charts here. We don't trade futures. Actually, I filled in for Ben this morning on the futures class, which is also interesting too, where we do futures example type trades, but talk about futures. Having said all that, folks, I think it's just about time for us to get started here, get the show rolling. So let's do that. But before I do that, I do have one last thing to talk about, and that is our upcoming workshops and market drives. If you are interested, these are great events that we host here. I think many of you would attest to that if you've been to them. You've got a lot of great attendees, coaches that attend. Of course, the attendees fantastic, but you can register to attend there, charlesschwab.com events. We've got one in Orlando coming up, the Gaylord Palms Resort. That is 7th and 8th of August. New York, Advanced Options, and Scottsdale. You've got the market drive there at the Venetian. All right. Well, with that, hey, let's turn it over to some swing trading. But before we get going on that, folks, how are we looking here in terms of the possible breakout of that triangle and extension? Believe it or not, we're up 152 points. So it is a big run. You want to hear the good news, though? A lot of times traders would say, my gosh, look at this thing. It's broken out. I've missed it. I'm just going to have to wait for the next one. Well, for traders that are looking for that bigger picture move, and I'm talking about this right through here, right? This big upward move, consolidation, the possibility, folks, of what? Well, an extension like this. I'm just going to make this nice and thick so you can see it. I'm going to jump into our crossover in just a second, but I had to show you this because this is kind of a unique time on the markets, and it is looking like, well, as long as we stay up above this level for the last 55 minutes or so of the market day, a new all-time, not just high, but closing high as well. So interesting there to see, but that's why I wanted to address this with you. I'm going to go to a 5. Let's just do this. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker so we can see this and put some style into it. My normal tools aren't working on the chart, so I'm just using the Thinkorswim tools, which are great. They do work fine, but this, folks, we talk about those short-term swing trades in this class, like 3 to 15 days to up to about a month in a lot of cases. We're just looking for the moves within the bigger moves. But speaking of bigger moves and coming out of a long extended triangle pattern, and I'm just going to draw a flag across here, and you'll note that we might be up just a little bit. There might be a little bit more room to go here if, in fact, this flag pattern that you're seeing here, the flag pattern, an upward move, consolidation followed by another move, there could be an early kind of a bounce in here. I mean, we might be in the early stages because we didn't even know if we were going to break out yesterday above that 7,600, right? That's been a level that we've been stuck at for a little bit. I'll just zoom in on that. Oh, well, yeah. Let's do that again. Like right over here, that 7,600 right through there. I mean, we didn't know. We were right at it. We stopped at it, and boom, we have a big update. Now, in a lot of cases, not every case, but in a lot of cases, when you do break out of a range, you're frequently testing back down again and maybe resting near a prior high. You don't have to. It could extend a little bit higher, but this is an interesting sort of, some would say, a little bit of a, well, some would say that they might have higher expectations of a move going forward, but just because it's breaking out. You got to have a lot of volume to break out above this range. And here we go. I'm going to pull this guy down and hold and line this up and basically show you that this, first part of July to the end of August, remember that was our summer rally time frame. And not that we always get a summer rally. In fact, a lot of years, we just don't get a summer rally. But when you do see a trend or a pattern forming, which we've been talking about in this class, as the triangle pattern right there, you guys could see that pretty clearly. A lot of times, after a big upward move, maybe it is setting up for a summer rally, and this looks kind of interesting. We are only this far away right there to hitting the triangle pattern, but right now it's truly one of those two patterns within, I mean, within one kind of a setup, if you'd say, or a pattern within a pattern. And you see this, you can see the longer term potential flag pattern, which is already showing us signs that it is a flag pattern because we are breaking out of highs. But that is the projected. These are both projected price levels. Of course, nothing's 100%, but technicians do try to and they do try to work on getting their expectations higher for a move. And that's all about what we're about in this class. Using indicators, trends, price patterns, volume indications too, to try to get us on the right side of the market. And the right side of the market in terms of are the expectations for the swing trade. Remember that 3 to maybe I almost like 21 days in the future, 3 days to a month at the very long, very short, very long time frame. The move. So the move kind of like this within the longer term trends, right? We're trying to capture these things. I'm just bringing this up because we do have a lot of new people here today as a promoted class, and welcome to all of you. Let us know if you are new in the chat too, but I do recognize a lot of friends here. Does it? Yeah, I just caught that little comment there from Jay. Interesting. There you go. All right. I have never heard that before. But here we go. This is these are kind of some of the moves. Now you'll notice over here, let me just draw this. Check this out. If I duplicate that again, right click over here. Here we go. Run it up. What do we have here? Well, if I could draw it, we have a longer term move. And within that longer term move, we do have the shorter term swings. And that's what we're talking about here in this class specifically. So let's dive into what we really wanted to discuss. But before I even go there, I know, one more pause. The NDX. I bring it up because we are right there. 357. That's 3.57% higher. That's a big, big move. And we didn't quite get to the lower end of our triangle. We'll see if we can get to the higher end of our triangle over here. But semiconductors, a big part of it, technology, folks. They're coming in. They're firing back a little bit. So there you have it. All right. Well, what I wanted to do is talk about a moving average crossover, but it's not just a standard moving average crossover. In fact, it is an exponential moving average crossover that traders will use to identify momentum swings. Now, by the way, there are other classes that I teach within ThinkScript. And I talked about one last week on the Awesome Oscillator too, that tries to find maybe not like the I'll show you over here. Like, say, if I just pull up a stock like Cisco, for example, it might wait and maybe not get this initial move right here, but it says, yeah, there's something more to this one here, the awesome oscillator. We're looking at this. We can tie in those as well. It's a little bit more complex. Right now, I want to use a simple one just to identify the swings, but, but something that would identify like this pullback, right? Let's zoom in at the start of this move. Like we're breaking highs. And a lot of times when you're breaking highs, you're getting a moving average crossover. And what I mean by that is a moving average crossing above another moving average, a short term crossing above another. And the one I wanted to focus in on today is since my charting tools are off just slightly here today, but it is going to be the 8 and 21 EMA. Have you heard of it before? Exponential moving average is different from our simple moving averages. And I've got a few of these, you guys, to take a look at as we go through here. But what I wanted to say is, still laughing at that comment. That's funny. All right. So the simple moving average, let's go over here. Let's just do this. I'm going to show you. This is a good case study, case in point. Look at this. Here's a simple moving average let's make it like a 50. Just bigger, a little bit more time associated with it. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go call this a blue. We'll make it blue, and we'll make it just a solid blue. But we're also going to intersect this with a exponential moving average, and this will help to explain um, why we're using the exponential on a momentum type basis. So I'm gonna use let's just use the lighter blue, the cyan or whatever it is. Okay, I'm gonna use a 5 still, and we'll leave this one solid. So there you go. Okay, now there are differences, and it's a 50, so it's not going to be as quickly moving on price. But can you see the differences here? The solid line here up top. I was going to make one of these. Sorry, we'll just do the exponential as dashed. I think I hit dashed. It just didn't go. There we go. So the dashed line, notice it's faster to respond to prices when they start to move up. Everybody see that? And by the way, it holds true to that across the board here. Well, the exponential moving average is just simply putting more weight into the most recent price data. Now, over here in this long channel, what does the recent price data show? It's still in a sideways range. These two are almost indistinguishable from each other. But when you start to break out, oh, there's a little bit of a movement over here, and there you have it. Notice that's when you're getting some of these little minor flag patterns showing up. That's the idea behind the exponential moving average. It starts to speed up a little bit. Now, when we're talking about an 8 moving above a 21, that's fast. The 8 on an exponential is a little bit more than a week's worth of data, but the emphasis is on that last week more than anything, the last few days as opposed to the first. The 21 time frame is a monthly type explanation, uh, I should say. So it's looking at a monthly, and so that's a month's worth of data on that end, right? And so with that, we've got a couple of interesting things going on. Okay, let's back up. I'm going to highlight a few things, a few details. So that's what we got there. I'm going to kill these for now, and I'm actually going to take off. We'll put our other ones on. So here is the 8 and 21. Now we're going to build a scan to show you how to set this up and to run it very quickly. And we're actually going to also put in here an intermediate term moving average. That would be the 100-day moving average. Here's our 8 period. I'm just going to put this on. I've got it in as a yellow line, dashed line. And here's our 21. And you just simply find those again. The best way to find this is just to type in EXP, because it actually says, it's actually a moving average exponential, but it will pull up that EXP right there. And that's how you find those quickly. Okay, watch this. Now, what did I do? Oh, I know what I did. I didn't hit the, what did I do? I got to hit OK. Yeah. Made all these adjustments. I didn't hit OK. I hit probably cancel. So here we are. We're back at it right now. Very quickly, click OK. There you have it. Okay. So here's what we're looking at here. Okay, so you can see we're getting, this is one of the companies. I'm going to zoom into the present so you can see it right here. But what it's trying to identify is a break right now, kind of an early move out of the range. And you'll notice when we're down a little bit and sideways, the thing I like about the exponentials is they are also more attentive to price action when it is also going lower. So if it's going lower, 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 there's going to be a sort of a range in between here. Quickly, the yellow, excuse me, the sort of the yellow color, yeah, that's there are 8. The 21 is the blue again, so you can just see it on the chart. But that is the crossover right there. Now, I found this very quickly with just some of the capabilities on the platform, and there's the scan right there. So it just broke above that range. Now, I always like to look at this in context because we don't like to ever forget what we've learned in this class. And there's a lot that we've learned in this class. I mean, in terms of just price patterns, support and resistance and trends. Well, this is an interesting, I mean, let's be honest. This is a fascinating flag pattern, super long term. There's your pull and there's your flag. What did we see with the S&P 500? That's right. We saw another, it was wrapped up within a triangle, this range. It's certainly triangling. It's getting into a tighter and tighter range before the breakout, maybe. But this one is a little bit, this one's more like a flag. You can see just the flag motion. These are fascinating because they're marked by strong upward moves over here, very powerful moves to the upside. But yet, when it comes time for prices to pull back and maybe fall back just as much, they don't. They hold their price range, and traders will anticipate a move following through because that's generally a really good sign. People came in, more, let's say more buyers came in, but less sellers came out. It's a positive momentum sign forming that bull flag. Okay, I'll clear this off right now. Clear that drawing set just so you can see this. But I pulled this from that. Now, the quick note I wanted to highlight here is where are we? Well, we're right at resistance, kind of where the S&P 500 was yesterday. Have we broken above there yet? No, we haven't. And by the way, yeah, we've got earnings over here as well. Now, last earnings, fantastic. I mean, in terms of the market's response, really good. And you can see right there, the estimated earnings, they really did well in beating those, and the market responded well. Now, is it also going to be growing substantially due to AI and the AI build outs and things? Perhaps it will, but do you want to buy right at resistance? Question mark, right? In this example here. Maybe some traders just are waiting for it to get a little bit above there. But one thing we're spotting here is more than just potentially a swing trade because our eyes are looking back and we're saying, sure. I mean, this could be like, I would say this, and just on a short-term basis, right here to here. See that range? That's a measured move. And we can actually take this range right there to there and simply just duplicate it and measure that to the upside. And that would be like the first kind of price projection, which is, just slightly above these highs over here. You see what I'm saying? So you have this, but for what we're seeing here, but we can't forget this longer term move, this crossover, which we really haven't had much of through this whole thing, might be kind of interesting now just due to today's price movement. So that's what I'm getting at when we look at these companies. That's Cisco. Now we've got some others to look at. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just build a scan right now to show you guys. In fact, what I'm going to do is I did build a scan, but I'm going to start from scratch just so we can all see it, and I'll show you a quick way to build this, okay? So here we are in our condition wizard. And so let me go back into this again. It's still, you know what, it's fine. I can keep it up. It's no big deal. I'll just show you what I did. But if I want to go into my add filter over here. So first off, I am in the scan. We want to find out all the companies that have been doing this today, crossing over the 8 moving above the 21 today, and also they are above their 100-day moving average. So generally, there's a trend going higher. We don't want it to be crossing above the 8 and 21 if there's a downward long-term trend. We want it to be above that level when it's getting its crossover. So scan stock hacker, got to be there. Main tab scan, sub tab stock hacker. Over here under add filter, just click on study. You'll have the study pulled up, and there is an easy way to do a crossover. It's pre-built. We just need to put in the criteria that we are specifically after ourselves. Now, here we go. First things first, let's just let me see. Well, that's so funny. I can't. All right, forget it. It's all right. I could just kill the whole thing here. I'll just do that. Let's start over. So I want you to just show you what it looks like from the beginning. So here we go. Add the filter, study filter. It gives this default, but we're pulling up a study that's built, that's behind the scenes of the platform. It's software that we need to tap into. The ADX crossover just pops up first because, yeah, ADX is alphabetically at the top of the list. I'm going to hit delete, and we're going to use this condition wizard here. We're going to add a condition to it, and we do have a condition because there is a study over here, and that study, I mean, there are a number of different studies, but there is an exponential right here, moving average, let's see, exponential moving average. Wait, I think there's a crossover that I was looking at before. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it even more basic because I just want to make sure many of you already understand. Look, we're just going to do this. Exponential moving average. There is another one. I'm just going to use this though. One exponential moving average, we're telling the computer what we're after. And we want to look at a broad basket of stocks to find something out there interesting for us. So you can see over here, we got our exponential. The default is a 9. I'm going to put the 8 in there because we're going to be using the 821 crossover. Next point is the crossover we just mentioned. It crosses over or above the other exponential moving average right here. Okay, double click on it. We just need to change that over here to a 21. So that's going to get us what we just saw on that Cisco chart, that really quick moving average over that shorter term range. Okay, I'm going to say within a bar for now. Let's just do like one bar. In other words, we're getting the 8 crossing above the 21 now, a fresh crossover as of today. Save. Now, I did mention to you that I wanted to make sure that there's a trend also going up. For example, notice over here, here is Cisco. If I pull up, how did I get this? Well, I had a 100-day moving average too that I threw in here because I want to make sure that there's a longer term trend and we are above it. Okay. Watch this. If I use something that's been like under pressure recently, ORCL, Oracle, but still a tech stock, we're on the verge of getting a crossover right here. But do you notice something that the 100-day is helping us with? It's saying, you know, we might not have had a change in trend yet, like we had over here. We had a pretty big rally over here on Oracle, as you can see. But notice, double bottom. Did we take out this new high? Folks, we did right there. Did we have a higher low? The 100-day helped us to identify a change in trend. Now, the awesome oscillator can do something very similar with it. But I like the basics for swing trading. There's something where you do get simple too. I mean, we can always add something else to it. I just want to highlight this. But that's showing us what the trend, right? I mean, you can see how there's a trend there. We're going to probably get, if we have another day up, it's very likely that this EMA, this 8, will cross above the 21, and that would signal. And by the way that we've got the scan currently set up, it would show a signal. It would say, yeah, this is one that qualifies. But if we put the 100 in here, it says, no, don't mess with it yet. It's still what? 2 words, down trending. Here we go. Down trend. We made a new low right there. I mean, it could reverse, but let's find out on maybe the next leg where it comes up here, pulls back down again, has a crossover, and we're above the 100, for example. That's where that can kind of save us a bit. Okay, on those sorts of things. And so I'm going to come back to the scan tab, and you'll notice now, you know, companies like Oracle are not going to come up. I'm going to go over here and we'll pull it back up. I'm going to add one more indicator. Folks, so easy. And I really recommend that you get used to using that condition wizard because I know many of you are very, I mean, if not all of you are very good technicians and you're just trying to say, how do I use these tools to help me find something of usefulness on the platform? I mean, that's really, really important to do. So you can find, we know what we want technically on the charts, but now let's set it loose on the entire market and see what it can pull up. So the next one, we're back in the condition wizard, real simple. Just come under here and just say, in this case, price. This is different. We're going to say price, closing price is greater than, because we're not looking at two moving average lines, one moving above the other or vice versa. We could easily flip it around if we were looking for downward moves. But this is greater than that simple moving average in this case. I wanted to keep this one simple, so we use the simple moving average, but here you go. So we're going to put this on down. Here is our 100-day length right now. It's got to be above it, right? It is greater than. It's not crossing above. It's the trend has simply, the price trend has simply moved above the 100-day. Does that make sense? Pretty straightforward, but that's it. That's the entire code. So we're going to get something completely different here when I run this scan. All right, so let's do this. All right, before I run that scan though, folks, if you're getting value from this presentation, smash that like button. It's just basically the only way we know, we understand that you, well, and the views as well, but it lets us know that you're finding this discussion valuable and informative. That's what we want. So if that's the case, smash that like button. And let's just, Connie, I know found this valuable and also encourage you to subscribe to the Trader Talks channel while you're here. We've got 207,000 subscribers already. And as you can see over here, you can tap into playlists, etc., with all of the instructors down here. There's Connie right there. Our systems turned bearish. There you go. So she's teaching another topic, and we have a bunch of different topics to take a look at each week. But let me just go ahead and post this in the chat so you can see it. And there we go. So okay, there it is into the chat, and you got it right there. All right, and this will keep you posted. So like if new information comes out as well, you guys will have access to that. Perfect. All right, be sure to follow Connie and I on X as well. Love to have you follow us there. If you are inclined to do so, we do try to post like financially related concepts on there too. Okay, now back to our discussion here, and let's look at it. So I'm going to run this scan right now. So we've got 16 that met that criteria right there. Okay, it met this criteria. Now what makes this unique is my look back period, folks, is a grand total of today. That the cross had to be here today. Now I am scanning through, and this is incredibly important. I'm scanning through the S&P 500. What do you want to scan in? You can really knock yourself out from existing personal lists that you've created all the way down to public folders as well that you can put in place. Look at that. NASDAQ 3000. That'll take a little while maybe, but you've got it right there. You've got many others here too. You could look at Dow Jones. That's a smaller one. Also, the NASDAQ 100 is kind of popular too. But you've got that there. We've scanned through. I want to highlight some of these stocks right here that did come up on our list today. Now, look over here with me. So Expeditors. We did look at Cisco already. There's Dell in there. A lot of tech stocks. Now, let's confirm that everything EXP, what was it? EXPD. Yeah, EXPD. There we go. Okay. Now, there you have it. We are above our 100. It appears that we did get, okay, we did. So earnings came out. It looked kind of like an earnings move, a positive earnings move that is, but I always check because they can be after hours. That one says before market. You can see it right there. So they beat pretty good. Now, is this interesting? Could this be informative in terms of getting started out of a move? It was kind of a longer pullback. We rested right on, look at that, prior highs across the board. In fact, I'll use this tool right here to highlight it because there's a bit of a range over here too. But this could be a range pullback bounce. You've heard of the pullback and bounces before? Well, this is kind of like an early breakout. Look at that right there. You break out, you pull back, you're just getting your cross right now. That's lining up to what we're trying to find here. In fact, this could be part of, let's say, for example, that won't do it. Here we go. This is kind of a longer term flag pattern, right? Click right there. If that's the flag move, then we have the retracement range that could actually be quite large. The one thing you'd want to consider is that's a very, very big bar. You probably want to wait for further indications. I mean, a lot of traders do for your practice trades on this, but I mean, we're approaching resistance right here. And I would say we're actually entering resistance, but it enlightened us, to the development of expediters right here. That's a big move. It's an earnings related move, and a lot of times when you get positive earnings, like we saw, maybe we had guidance. Oh no, it dipped before, and then it jumped back up on earnings. And look at the rally after earnings. It's not to say we'll get that again, but sometimes you get post earnings rallies on good news, particularly if traders are looking for technical charts to set up. Others in here that were on that list: ABGO, Broadcom. Okay, ooh, just barely above the 100 right there, just barely, but there's your crossover right. I'm going to really zoom in so you can see it. There it is right there. We just crossed over. Actually, it was kind of looks like, oh, it looks like yesterday. But anyways, we're getting it coming in today. Clearly a move. That's interesting. But do you see anything interesting here? We've been in a sideways channel for a while, a big pullback, consolidation, consolidation, consolidation. Okay, this is what some traders will look for, and that is this break right there above this high kind of a band. High, high. There were some highs here as well. Breaking above. Could this be an indication of the change in the move? In other words, could we start to see now a longer term move start to take place? And could we place some swing trades within there? That's the question. It's letting us see it right now. So one thing I do, because I err on the side of caution here because I do go into a shorter term time frame in a lot of cases just to kind of highlight this, because when you look at this, sometimes you say, well, that's a big move. Yeah. I mean, what do I do? Just, put on the sample trade right now? Well, there are other ways to get more information within this that we can use potentially to our benefit just by expanding the number of bars here. Notice I've got my daily 30 and 5, the D35 over here. So I've set up what's referred to as a grid chart. And what can be helpful, I'm just going to go one arrow to the right to get my 30-minute chart. And now we can look at the 30-minute. Now, traders might utilize this because they've got their signal. By the way, that's the prior high range, right? I left that on there. But we're on a 30-minute chart now. So what if prices were to, dang, I got to get those tools fixed. You guys are used to me drawing these big lines all over the chart, and I'll have that I'll have that by Thursday for sure for the ThinkScript class, but here you go. There's the pullback right there. I mean, if you see it, I mean, is that not a flag pattern? It's a smaller flag within maybe a larger term move. If you start to break out of this, that could be the beginning of the daily to continue on up. You see what we're getting into? We're just, my goal is not to make it more complex, but just to state that there is more data behind the scenes. You got to look at more minute time frames to see that. Sometimes I'll even go to the 5-minute. I mean, you can do that. But there you go. Let's see. Yeah, some other comments in here. I appreciate it, Connie. Yep, subscribe, and there you go. And let's continue on. There was NVIDIA also coming up. Now, oh, I know why. I had wrote these down because I looked back at 2 to 3 days ago too. I did. I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to show you what's going on today as well. But look over here with me. Now that's across like today, though. This one is today. NVIDIA, oh my gosh, NVIDIA has put so many traders to sleep. Was it finally ready to go? Who knows? But I mean, look at this. That's yeah, this is October of last year, before Halloween of last year. Sideways, folks, sideways, sideways, sideways. We broke up, we went down again sideways, but now are we starting to just barely get breaking above here? There's your crossover, but again, we're at resistance. So 30-minute, what do we see here? All I'm saying right now is resistance, prior highs. So we might, I mean, traders might say, gosh, I need something above here. Maybe a little consolidation coming down, resting on a prior high, or just simply maybe it comes over here and flags down here and gives us some indication too that we might be able to take advantage of if we start to break above that level. Okay, now super quick on this, on those flag patterns, yes, that is the crossover. But if you were to get another kind of a pullback here, you could put on a shorter term moving average here for the entry as well. I mean, could a short term 88 and 21 crossover work over here on a bull flag short term? Sure. I'm gonna let you guys experiment with that, but that's kind of even another level that you could look at as well. So you get it on one time frame and then another time frame, and things could set up. Let's hit Dell, but I've got to show you just a couple others over here. There you go. So Dell crossover to resistance. We might be on the verge of some of these longer term breaking out. That's a really big run. This is a really long consolidation too. That's back in May. And are we just getting out now so that we could start to now go forward higher? That's the question. That is the key question here. All right. Any questions, though, as we're talking about questions, any questions on the scan itself? Three components, really. Three moving averages, two tied together, 8 moving above the 21. And then, of course, they've got to be above the 100 simple to help us identify the trend. The first two are momentum based in terms of maybe the flag pullbacks, but then also trading above that trend is central. These are the companies that come up over here. I did want to look at, let's say, HD. Okay, we looked at HD on a couple of things. I think yeah, here we go. So HD. Now I'm going to go to a daily chart. I know we've got a lot of lines in here, but we don't need to have those lines on the chart, but I think they are helpful because that's what the scan's referencing. And it's kind of just nice to see it. Over here too, though, could there be a longer term bottom at play? You notice that we're just bouncing off the 100-day moving average. Let me highlight a couple of things here for you folks. Right here, let's just draw some circles are fine. Shoulder, head, shoulder right there. Possible inverted head and shoulders pattern, which could make for a fairly large move, like right over here. Remember, we're measuring kind of like, a breakout above this range. And then we take this distance from the high to the low, and we simply add this to the upside. Oh, that's putting us right near. I don't know if those are all-time highs. Those are certainly like, prior major 52-week highs, 52-week new highs. But that could be an extension run if we do what? Gosh, how many times have we said this? Wow, this is kind of where the market's at. When I'm saying it over and over again, we're just seeing this in the market, across the board, because there's just so many companies that have it. But I would say above resistance. But this, like I said, it's a momentum indication for a swing trade. Sometimes it's the flag pattern starting right away. Sometimes you might just want to let it get through a key level, like let's say a resistance level, and then just track the measured projected move in this case. But that is a very, very interesting one to take a look at. Let's take a look at another one here. Oh, where are you? Right here. Oh, there. So some interesting ones. So Norwegian Cruise Line. There's NVIDIA. Palantir had some really good earnings today. Boom. That's almost 30% today. Today's change. That's up there. You've got SMCI. SMCI, huh? That's a lower priced text. Look at that. It's in the 30s, kind of a semiconductor. What do we have on it real quick? SMCI right there. Um, ooh, just barely above, barely above your 100 day. But you have to say, in order to go higher, you probably have to get above that 100 day. It's interesting. These are happening today together. Cross, cross, some resistance. And by the way, I'm seeing you guys seeing it too? Shoulder, head, shoulder. These can present themselves as longer term bottoms. We're just tying that into the momentum side, and we'll see what we get over here. Uh, by the way, there are earnings there. Don't want to forget about that. Earnings have been really interesting, up big or down big. I have to take a look at this. I have not seen this, but I do want to take a look at a cruise line in here. So truly a discretionary type play. NCHL, wait, what was it? Norwegian NCLH. NCLH. Okay. Right there. Ooh, again, shoulder, head. Oh, well, we got a few shoulders over here, but we're still stuck in that range. It did pass earnings, but remember, we're using this indication too. We don't want to forget what we've learned here. Above that level, above the highs, right, for the head and shoulders pattern. So this would be a very interesting one, as well as Home Depot and the others, to utilize other capabilities right off of the Thinkorswim platform. And I'm talking about the alerts. Notify me when NCLH is starting to break above this level. All I'm simply doing, folks, right clicking on the screen, clicking on left clicking now on create alert so it can text me. And I'll just say head and shoulder breakout question mark. So I'm texted that message or emailed that message. Come down here to notify with sound and mobile. Got to look at this. Got to click on this bottom one. Otherwise, it won't send it to you. And then up top, make sure if this is the first time using this, go to setup, application settings, and just put that email address or the email or the other one, the text, your phone number in the notifications if you agree to that. Okay. Quick note on using those. These are very, very helpful, I think, for this class, but did want to state that alerts aren't guaranteed to be delivered or delivered at any specific speed or time frame and should not be used as a replacement for actively being aware of your positions. Now, have I had any issues with alerts? I haven't had any issues at all. I've been using it for years during the day, but we don't guarantee them the same way, if it's a fast market, who knows what could happen. I haven't run into that, but just wanted to state that just so everybody's aware. All right. Now, having said that, I just wanted to highlight again, if you haven't already subscribed, love to have you guys on board. In fact, let me just pull this up again real quick, and I'll put it up top so you can see this. But yeah, so there is Trader Talks channel. Be sure to subscribe to that under the playlist here, folks. I did mention this, so I'm just going to bring it up here for you. If this is one that it does tie into momentum, and that's the only reason why I bring this up. But in that, where is it? I don't even know where it's. Oh, find the momentum. It's along this watch list. This is the ThinkScript right here. Just as trading with ThinkScript. So I'm going to just copy this and I'll put this into the chat if you want to take a look at it. I've got a lot of these different ones listed over here. You can take a look at too that can help. We do create a lot of the indicators that do tie into the swing trade class here. So I'll put that in if it is useful, but here it is. Okay, and right there. All right, if that could be of use. Now, yes, I know. One more thing. We already went through the promotions in terms of those events coming up, but I did want to highlight this. Be sure to follow Connie and I on X, Connie Hill CS, Mike Fairwood CS. There is my channel right there. And oh, yeah, some other stuff in there too. But yeah, I do talk about economic reports, earnings announcements, and other things, rate hikes along those lines. sometimes some videos, then we go through and take a look at different charts as well. If you're interested in that, be sure to check out Connie. Connie, be sure to put yours in the chat as well. But Connie Hill CS, and mine is Mike Fairborn CS. Okay, well, there it is right there. All right, everybody. It was great being with you today. And be sure to like this presentation if it was helpful for you. But these shorter term moving averages can be really helpful, but always want to view them within the context of the presentation. And if you had any questions about it in terms of the scan, we just built that in the condition wizard, and I just went step by step through building that. So on that note, take care, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. See you next time.